For all of our viewers across Africa and the rest of the world, this is NC Continental Prime. I am Dapo Adegboye. The news begins in West Africa, where the chairman of Nigeria's Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, Prof. Mahmood Yakubu, has said that the results for the Bayelsa, Imo, and Kogi governorship elections will be uploaded on its result viewing portal, IReV. Now, the INEC chairman made the disclosure while speaking with newsmen at Ward 009 LEA School, Ganaja Village, Ajaokuta Local Government Area, Kogi State, where he assured that the commission would follow the laws for accreditation and results collation during the state's elections. Now, Yakubu, who is in the state to monitor the mock accreditation exercise ahead of the November 11th governorship election, said the purpose of his visit was to assess the readiness of the state for the forthcoming election, adding that similar visit would be undertaken to Imo and Bayelsa states. Now, joining me on the news at this time to discuss this is Wale Ogunade, human rights activist and president, Voters Awareness Initiative. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for inviting me.
All right, now, in the light of the just concluded presidential elections, particularly on the use of IReV, let's start with your take on this particular, will I call it, summation by the agency, that's INEC.
Well, it's a new innovation that they started using, but to me, it has been very, very effective during the off-season election. You remember, it was used in Ekiti, and it was also used in Osun. And it brought in interesting and very fantastic results in that it was real-time, on-time results. As soon as they came up, transferred. And of course, there is no hiccup, no stress about it. To me, it's a good thing. And again, maybe because we had issues in it with the presidential election, technology may not have been enough, will not have been bigger or better or well connected, network area, and so on and so forth. I want to believe for the offshoot, for the off-season, particularly these states elections now, the coverage area is not as large and as huge as that of the federal, as the federation. So we'll have some semblance of ability to handle the situation very well, communicate very well, and of course, transmit the results very well. All in all, we just hope that having made that statement, INEC will be on top of the situation and ensure that their promise comes to pass. Simple as that.
Now, talking about their promises coming to pass, how ready do you think the commission is for the elections, and what areas do you actually think they need to improve or tidy up?
But the area they should improve on is in the area of logistics and welfare. Those two are very, very important. Taking into consideration that on election day, there are no movements all around. And of course, in some cases, food and such issues, snacks and so on, may not be available for the INEC staffers. I want to believe not all of them, or that's the adult staff. I want to believe not all of them are real-time religionists that will go into fasting, and so we'll say that they are fasting, so they should be denied food. It is their right to get themselves refreshed, particularly their stomach, or as we call it, refuel their tank. So INEC should look at the issue of welfare, the feeding, their accommodation, and logistics. Again, on election day, as we know, in Nigeria, the roads and there is always a lockdown. And when there is lockdown, no vehicular movement. Well, they say that people on essential duties, the vehicles are not normally enough, except if INEC now decides to get more vehicles attached. Or how they will do it is generally to improve on the transportation system. Then the next one is ensuring that everything that they have been planning, it comes to pass in terms of distributing both sensitive and non-sensitive materials on time. Once those ones are on ground, the personnel too are on ground, then everything will be ready, and of course they will be upbeat. They will be ready to carry out their assignment. not forgetting the so-called IReV and the card reader and all those equipments that they will need. They should prime them up, ensure that they have a synergy with the network provider, they have a synergy with the suppliers of the various gadgets that they will be using, so that once they start working, these things to work and cooperate with them, the result and the data that we need will all come up and everybody will shout hallelujah.
Now, I mean, there are speculations of tensions in certain quarters. For instance, in Kogi State, ahead of the governorship elections in November 11th. Now, just as INEC raises concerns about this, what do you think relevant authorities, can do, particularly in these areas, so that we have a peaceful exercise? Also, in that vein, do you think that that will also in any way affect voter behavior on that day, vis-a-vis at the fallout of the presidential elections concerning the use of, in your words, technology, the IReV? Do you think that the fallout of the presidential elections would also affect voter, turnout or behavior on the day of elections, and also the trust of the process itself on that particular day in those states?
Well, for the Kogans, I don't think that will affect voter turnout. But the only thing I know is that, yes, every time there is going to be an election in Kogi State, there is always an heated up. In fact, not only Kogi State, anywhere, because it's a winner takes all thing. The stake is very high, and the principal actors or the dramatics personnel will always want to deploy everything in the arsenal to ensure that they capture state power, because they know that capturing the state power makes them the lord of the manor, and whoever captures it obviously will be able to control the state apparatus and, of course, the state resources. To that extent, it makes that issue to be very volatile, and they deploy all sorts of things, hooligans, thugs, imaginary and instant police and security people, to ensure that they play hook and crook, to ensure that they get it. So it's just a survival for the fittest. That's for the election in Kogi. Then the second question you asked, excuse me, in terms of the strategy. Well, again, I won't want to say anything in that regard. That's left in the hands of INEC. I know INEC will know what to do to ensure that everything that they have put in place is really on ground, to ensure that they deliver. They should not forget that Nigerians don't want a story anymore, stories that touch the heart. Then concerning the issue of voter apathy, I don't see that happening. I don't see that happening, because generally the politicians have gone around, they've campaigned vigorously, and we see how people have been busy cross-carpeting, jumping up and down, as we call it in some local parlance, playing the act of jumpology. And with that, then definitely we'll know that we're going to have an interesting outing, all of us that are involved in the process. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much for your time, Mr. Wale Ogunade.
To God be the glory.